Off our show tonight in style, Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce. Tammy, Happy New Year to you.
Same to you.
I want to go back to what we were talking about at the top of the show, the spectacle put on by the establishment in Washington this week. Your reaction?
Well, you know, interestingly, what you've started with in that issue and also with the surprising news about Mr. Saget is that it's a reminder for us to not be distracted by things that we really need to act on, right? That you've got a dynamic where tomorrow is not necessarily promised, that our children's futures are at stake, that there are very bad actors, bad operators involved in politics who mean, in fact, to distract you and to have you not notice what they're doing so that you vote a different way and that you think you'll deal with issues the next day or everything is fine, whereas, in fact, we must realize that our actions are required now, that our passion cannot be put off, that if something needs to be done, we need to admit it to ourselves now about our own health. You know, I was out the last couple of weeks. I got COVID. It's when anybody's going to get COVID, it's a surprise. But this new variant, I think most people are going to get it. And, you know, it makes you realize that, in fact, things are going to happen that you can't control, but the things that you can, you must act on, like who's representing you in government, the nature of whether or not your voice is heard, and that you should care whether or not it's heard, that we might not get second chances, and that this reminds us that our passion matters and that we have to act on it. So, you look, Washington thinks that we're sheep. They think that Hispanics are going to vote the way they're expected.
Right.
You know, just like with your other guest, who's a fabulous woman, you know, they think everyone's a sheep, especially people of color. You know, damn them for taking up this mantle of being champions for minorities, and they treat them like they're the first sheep, that they're the lead sheep. None of that is true. This is about passionate Americans, passionate Hispanics, passionate Black Americans, gays and lesbians, women. We're Americans first. And we're going to make a difference. And that is what we have to do for all of us here, for our futures. And remembering, our time here is short. So, you know, surprises will happen. We must do what we can to make a difference as quickly as we can.
That is so exactly right. And, you know, you've got, and the other thing it reminds me of is actually, it does all tie together, because you've got the Democrats completely in this sort of patronizing manner, assuming that any kind of person of color is going to support them. Exactly. And then the New York Times being surprised when their Democrat focus group, who they assumed would be trotting out their kind of, you know, propaganda about the insurrection, whatever, actually turned around and said, you know what, Americans are angry. They're angry about being lied to, and they're angry with the system.
Yeah, and the problem is that for a while with media, you know, this manipulation does work. Americans are busy, and we've trusted the government, we've trusted the experts, and we trust that we're not going to be lied to. But when we do find out that trust has been misplaced, we get angry. And Americans get angry quietly. We are going to have another riot that has never been seen before in this country at the ballot box in November. That is when they will see from us for what we think, and that's when they're going to hear from us. And we must make it distinctive, because these are people who don't care about us. We've got to step forward, and I think that's what we're going to see in November.
Exactly, and you've got, I mean, Biden, Kamala Harris, I mean, the extent of their dishonesty and their incompetence and the cynicism is just, I mean, we knew they were going to be bad, but you know, last word to you, Tammy, I don't think any of us expected it would be this bad, and that's why the punishment should be proportionate.
Yes, and and one of the reasons why it's this bad is because they haven't been held to account. They have not been held to account by the media. They have never been asked hard questions. They've been slipped along, so they haven't had to refine or even ask themselves, what do I really think? Can I answer that question? What will this lead to? What will happen to this party, to our agenda, if we, in fact, treat people like they're garbage? Well, they're going to find out. And they thought it didn't matter. Well, you know what? You know, the sheep are going to strike back. We're going to strike back.
Oh, I love